I started out, started out as a dancer, then moved to a singer, and then became an actress, and finally wound up in LA, where all actors should eventually wind up, I guess. And started with a group called the Groundlings. It's an improvisational comedy group. At the time I was in there with Paul Rubens, who played Pee Wee Herman. He hadn't yet gotten that character. And Phil Hartman. Paul and Phil were both very dear friends of mine, Paul still is. And I heard through a friend about a local television station looking for a horror host. And I didn't really get what a horror host was. I grew up in a farm in Kansas. We were too poor to have a horror host. You know, and so I really didn't know what it was, but I was very into horror movies, so I thought, sounds good to me. So I went in, ended up in a long process doing the job. And once I got it, I went in looking like I do now. And they told me to come up with a look that was scary. And a friend of mine who was an artist, my best friend, Robert Redding, and I sat down and came up with some various looks for the character. We were going in the direction of Sharon Tate in The Fearless Vampire Killers, kind of a ghostly, pale look with long red hair and a sheer kind of see-through pink tattered gown. And when the management of the station saw me, they go, no, you have to have black hair, you have to have black dress, you have to, we're like, oh, so typical. So we came up with what you now know as Elvira. And I couldn't believe they actually let me go on with that dress on, to tell you the truth. I was pretty shocked. But, you know, local station, they'll do anything for ratings, so they go, yeah, this is great, make the slit on the leg higher, perfect. Okay. So then I did the show there. I was surprised that it even lasted longer than a week. I really was, because I go, okay, they want me to dress like this, but they want me to act like my character in The Groundlings, which was this goofy valley girl sort of actress, bimbo character I had. And I go, these two do not go together. I don't see this working. And I really thought I'd be out of a job after a week or two. And anyway, here it is, 35 years later, I'm still doing it. But the show took off after about 1 or 2 weeks. It was like crazy. I didn't know what was going on. I was getting calls. Of course, I was listed in the phone book, which was really, really nice. But I didn't know I was going to be famous, so I was, nobody cared. So it just took off. Next thing I know, Johnny Carson's invited me on the Tonight Show, and that was it. I was like, oh my God, holy crap, this is like happening. And it just sort of took off from there. And 2 or 3 years into it, we were able to get a syndicator who was able to put the show on nationally all over the country at different television stations, all local stations. Which is funny because people think that they kind of think I'm from their town, or they did for a long time, Oh, I used to, when you lived in Seattle, I used to see you, when you lived in Wisconsin, you were great. But actually I was doing it all in Hollywood, and then it was all over the country, so big difference. And then I got the Coors National Ad Campaign for Coors Light, and that was a huge boost because that was on, of course, all over the country too. So made the leap from like a little small town, even though LA is a good small town to be from, to everywhere. There, that's a long answer, right?
I could just listen to you talk all day, to be honest.
You should be married to me because you would.
Okay.